So I guess today I decided that I'm going to add more manager classes and have yet another finite state machine to drill down into. It always sounded really weird to me to have, a class that just has another class inside of it that has another class inside of it, and they're all finite state machines and stuff. But I the whole point of a finite state machine at that point was lost on me, because the point of that is that it rotates, they spin, you can pull and push contexts and different things will happen depending on it, which is awesome. So um, theoretically the entire game is just made out of if statements and finite state machines. Cool. Anyway, what I did is, instead of having all of my testing state, which is my game state, all of my all of the handler methods, I guess, um, for key and mouse events, instead of having them hold all the logic, they would instead tell the current context that the game is in to do shit for them. So when I press a key, the testing state is no longer doing anything. It's delegating that to the base context, which is things like if you hit escape, no matter where you are, it's going to open the pause menu. And then the current context, whereas if you have nothing selected and you click somewhere, it will select that. Or if you right click, nothing will happen. But if you have something selected and you right click, it'll move that thing to this thing, Um, it makes it so that I can have states, and then states can be shared amongst other things, whatever. So I left this one alone. I had done all of these already. They're all tied up, loosey goosey. Not loosey goosey. The other one, tidy whitey. Um, this one right here is my mouse clicked event, and it's the biggest and the ugliest one. So I decided to save that for this. So I put these clauses in there. When I click the mouse, ask the base context if it wants to do anything, and then afterwards ask the current context if it wants to do anything. And then I steal this. I take this, Control X. That no longer belongs there. That belongs inside of these two things. There's my top and selected contexts. I grayed that out because that's a mess right now. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to paste what I just stole right there. I've had it mostly figured out right there, so I'm just going to close that off right quick. So what I do is now all of this stuff that I had such easy access to, like the entities list and all of these variables and stuff, no longer exist in this context. So I have to tell it where to go to get those. So what I'm going to do is, in each context, they all inherit top context, base context, selected context, whatever, are all subclasses of context. And a context has a reference to the manager that manages it, which is a context manager right here, right there. And then if I go to my testing state, oh look, there's a context manager right there. The context manager has a reference to its owner, which in this case is the testing state. Look at that. What does the testing state have? Look, the entities list. It's right there. Later on, I'll link it up to an entities manager, but for now, the entities list will do just fine. So I'm going to come over to my top context. I'm going to drill on down. So this is the top context, as I had said a minute or two ago. This is different from a context when you have something selected. The top context is when you're staring at the game, you have nothing selected, nothing is going on, this is just you observing. So with that said, if I'm looking at my mouse button, my right mouse button, and the first thing I'm checking is if something is selected, it does not belong here. Let's get rid of that. Okay, I'm actually going to put that inside of a selected context right here, and then I'll clean that up either in this video or off screen somewhere. But basically, in my top context, I'm only curious as to what the regular old mouse button is doing, the regular left click. So when I click my mouse, right, if the mouse button is the primary mouse button, I'm going to drill through all of my entities that I've got. Now, I no longer have reference to the entities, so what I have to do is I have to go to manager, which is a reference to my manager, manager dot get owner, which is a reference to my testing state, dot get entities, and I don't have a getter for that right now. So let's make one really quick. Alright. So that now has all of the entities right there. All I had to do was look back 2 paces, which I think is 2 cycles. So, suck my nuts about that if you're gonna complain about it. I actually don't know that. I'm just talking out of my ass. I like to be aggressive and rude. So if this entity is intersected by the mouse coordinates, which is the same right there, right after I copied and pasted it, probably wouldn't be for you. Might be for you. Who knows? Set it selected to true. For every entity in the entities list, if it is equal, why the hell did I do that? Oh, right. Because if you're clicking on something, you're gonna click on. How do I demonstrate this? I can't open the thing because it's still broken. If I click on one thing, I'm gonna click on this word. If I click on this word, right, and without this clause right here, if I click on this word right here, rather annoying. If I click on this word, if I have this here, when I click on this word, it's gonna unselect this last one, right? I have a clause right here that says if you're not holding shift, do this. If you are holding shift, it would let you select this and this at the same time, you know? So that's just some headroom I had for a later thing. I might as well just do that again. So manager dot get owner dot get entities. No. Get entities. Has selection is true. That was an old relic from this. I do not need that anymore. I'm going to get rid of it. The reason that I has selection was because I didn't have states yet. If I have a selection, then I'm not in the top context anymore. I'm in the selected context. That being said, manager dot set current context to selected. Ta-da! And that is how that works. So, I bounce over to here. I won't even do that yet. So, if I select this guy, he's selected, right? If I select this guy and this guy, they're not both selected. Crazy how that works, right? So, what is happening is instead of checking it here on my mouse clicked, it's going into my current context, which in this case is top, checking if it's intersected, whatever. It's self-explanatory. I don't have to explain it to you. You're smart guys. Just for I'm 8 minutes in. I don't want to make this too long, but